Well, if you put a mirror right down the middle of the map, this plane path is like the opposite of it. So you can kind of look at it. You know, when things you look in a mirror, they're like backwards but inverted. Basically, this plane path is that. Starting from the Los Igos area, coming up towards Toyahumara. And yeah, it's interestingly enough, it's a pretty similar plane path in a lot of ways.
Yeah, not too bad for anyone. Better for the teams towards the southern side because they get to loot a little bit faster this time. Match 22 out of 24. What a week this has been so far. The Dynamo's only 3 more matches to go, including this Miramar. Final match of the Miramar, by the way. As Entus looking to climb back up with no points in the previous match. And Entus, when they get close to 0 in the next match right after, they do tend to play very passive.
Yeah, definitely. They need to kind of find that groove they had yesterday. A win here would be huge for them to solidify their lead because now it's only 4 points, and that was a huge win from MCG. 25 points is one of the best you're going to see on most days in competitive PUBG. As we take a look at the power grid there where MCG does drop, and we're getting it again.
Another one.
Wow. North, this one's even more west, but it could end up in the same area. Who knows? And this has just got to be teams like Entus, Infantry, and Tianba even have got to be kind of shaking their heads a bit.
Yeah, we only have like 5-6 teams in the circle, and the other 10 teams are out there saying, how the heck do we get in there now? As Tianba chose a far path near all the way to Villa del Mar into Monte Nuevo last time, but this is a lot more towards the west, so I don't think they can go straight through Nuevo this time.
No, I don't think so either. And look at the early rotation here by Lingdu for Multi-Circle Gaming. You can see it on your map there for a second. He is reaching way out. He is going as hard as he can towards the center of this circle, all the way past the Hook Mountain, heading towards the Crater Fields a bit even maybe. We'll see exactly how far he goes. Spear from VLG is mirroring his path a bit. Let's see if those two end up butting heads at all as this one goes along, or if they're going to be able to kind of separate, disengage, not face any consequences. We'll see.
Just one of the best plays that you can do. And send one as an observer, basically. Go on the high ground, read at least few teams rotating. Then you will have a better understanding of the other teams that you don't even see. And Spear, with less sight, I think he heard the vehicle of Lingdu because they were sort of close.
I think he's betting on that he's going to have better loot. He's got the compound that is just a little bit. I mean, it's esports setting, so I don't think that's a good bet to take because pretty much the loot's pretty good everywhere.
Yeah, Spear's got Molly. I think he knows. He has somewhat of an idea that Lingdu is here, and they didn't really run into each other, but they were only a couple hundred meters out with the vehicles.
This feels like one of those turning points. He has a barrel now. Does Spear? This could be if he can find Lingdu, he can take him down. That could be the end of the round, but Lingdu has a barrel of his own and is holding an angle. He sees Spear cross.
With an iron sight, though.
Iron sight versus iron sight, I believe, unless
I think
Spear might have found. He had a 2x on
there?
there?
Yeah, he had a 2x with... May have switched into mini now, but I think Spear's got a good idea. Oh, that's risky.
He's got to know. He's got to know. I think that Lingdu's over here. Oh. Does he not know that Lingdu is...
I don't think so anymore.
I thought he knew. How I could have sworn he heard that. What? Okay, well, Lingdu has pretty good advantage right now if Spear has no idea he's here because he could cross right in front of Lingdu's perception, and it's going to happen. He doesn't know!
Oh!
He doesn't know!
Spear! Another kill for MCG.
That one's got me scratching my head there, G-Cliff. Not going to lie. That one's got me scratching my head a bit. Because he came in there, he cut his engine. You know what I mean? It's like he wasn't even looking for Lingdu.
I think if he was cautious just a little more while he was making the first rotation, I think he should have heard the vehicle because Lingdu was still making a turn, so the engine could not have been off already, unless Lingdu actually turned that off very early on.
Could be. But you got to at least...
Yeah, but Lingdu was the first one in, so I think he wanted to speed up. But VLG, that's a big loss as Spear was supposed to be a pinpoint in the front into these areas, looting it and going into the crater fields. I think that's exactly what VLG wanted.
Yeah, I think Spear probably is going to go back to the replay on that one and be kicking himself a bit. He must have thought he heard the vehicle go away.
Maybe.
And sometimes it can be a little tricky with those sounds because it sounds like it's leaving you. And, you know, again, yeah, maybe the engines were cut early enough for Lingdu that, he just wasn't sure. Now Lingdu sees New Happy down in the crater. Ming Ming is down there looting, as he is going to get in a vehicle and try to get away from the fire of Evil Lee, as MCG looks to control the center and the high ground very effectively.
As if you look towards the east, Infantry and Entus not really know. Trying to decide where they actually want to go. I think they want to get a better idea of Infantry rotating first and get some more loot before they actually go in. I think they will try to have a similar rotation like they did in the previous match, which did not work out at all for them with no kills.
Look at this. This is Tianba again, really split. Now OPGG's in the middle of all of this in their rotations. Lin Shu way ahead inside of the circle up towards Pozo. The rest of Tianba is stuck either ahead, right ahead or right behind OPGG. This is a little bit wonkier for Tianba. They might try to bait OPGG into Lin Shu, see if they can get a kill or something like that.
I think that's exactly what they're looking for. As Alfaka actually delaying the rotation, knowing that there's also 2 more members behind his back. I think that's exactly what OPGG is looking for, but Lin Shu... Okay, Griffin's also coming here. That's a big...
Yeah, what in the world? Griffin's just like gonna cut right through this like a
have...
hot knife through butter. Here we go, 2 heart up next to Lorena. Are we gonna see some side sweet swapping?
Yeah, Lin Shu, I don't think he will shoot at Griffin immediately. Maybe towards OPGG when they have the last tail. But OPGG making a safer route. Yes, smelling something. Good rotation by OPGG.
Yeah, I like what OPGG is doing here. I think Griffin, I think everybody's kind of, something's up, something's weird. There's too many teams here, there's too much chaos, and I think especially Griffin and OPGG don't want to fall into it and, you know, lose any points, and particularly if they have any suspicion that this is Tianba, they don't want to give that team any points.
Exactly. Tianba would not really rotate with just 1 man up. It has to be 2-2 split when they rotate. So I think that's from the studies of OPGG and also Griffin. Both teams making a smarter decision after reading 1. And Kale.
Style points. Just looking good. Feeling good. Well, he's going to get out and check out some stuff. There's...
But this first circle, it is more towards the west, so there are a lot more road entrances compared to the last circle that we had. So Entus should be feeling a little bit better.
And there's nobody until you get to Power Grid for Entus right now, basically, or the other edge of San Martin. That's it. It's completely empty for like a kilometer.
And Power Grid, usually you would expect Destination Gaming White or Gen G around that area. So I think Entus might just try the similar rotation. All the way towards the water treatment or all the way up from the north and then moving down from the east of Cobreria side.
Yeah, you see that you can work your way from the north pretty effectively sometimes, coming up out of Cobreria towards that area. But once you get into the crater fields, if you have to cross through the crater field, it can be rather tricky, especially if, like, what's really weird is when the circle ends in the crater field. That is super wonky, but a lot of fun to watch those things happen. If we get to it, we'll see. We don't know. Circle 1 still has yet to finish closing, as OPGG still mirroring Tianba a bit as they are settling up next to each other way on the west.
Yes, Tianba's still trying to keep OPGG out, as I think that's one of the best play Tianba can do. Keep one team out, make sure you clean that up, make sure your back is safe and clean. And then start to rotate into the field when you have better control and all the way up towards Cobreria and Crater Fields right in the middle.
Yeah, this one's really weird because there's a lot of kind of bad spots, but there's a lot of good spots, and there's a lot of high ground. There's a lot of like high terrain inside of this one, and there's a lot of low terrain. It's quite a fascinating circle you're left with.
And the next, not on this circle, but the next circle, a lot of vehicles are going to be tossed away because you only have limited entry with the vehicles here. As you can go on top on the east side of Crater Fields, but while you're driving up, you are going to be shot down from a lot of the teams.
It's going to be really hard for Entus now as they're coming in late once again. This time they're by water treatment, and infantry is already way up on the north by the Oasis coming in around the other side of that mountain that's up there. OPGG now on the move towards Cobreria and going to head up the mountain like we kind of mentioned earlier. It's not too bad of a decision to make. There's some terrain and other things to work with up on the side of this mountain, especially once you get towards the top.
And there are lots of hiding spots on top of these mountains within that kilometer, at least like to 3 teams can actually fit in there. That southern road on the south of Kobe area there.
I think I've
as
seen like
we
5 teams fit up there before. Like
it's actually no one would actually go down, but within that top part,
yeah,
a lot of teams can actually stay. So Entus, yeah, looking into, I think he even saw one of the members of Pero is making a rotation. Since no other team is actually making a late entrance these days into week 3, Entus looking to strike with the other strategy.
Yeah, I mean, Entus has a pretty good bead on the backside of K7 here. They could go for a point or two, but Lockslock is trying to get out of there with that buggy, trying to avoid any early losses for him and his team as Entus rolls up behind all of this. And this is going to be a tough one for Entus. It's a lot harder to make that kind of patented Phase 3, Phase 4 rotation they like to make with this many teams already clustered up. And honestly, there's a few compounds here and there, but when you got to drive up and down the hills in Miramar, it's very challenging.
As Entus known as a team to make one of the bets pathing into the second, third circle. This is not an easy pathing to actually make. They can go down to the northern road, right into Cobra area, but after that, it's going to be really hard. There are some members, Infantry, Sun Sisters, also K7 nearby, but they might just get lucky, taking the easy way out on the road.
For Tianba, it's a safe rotation to the northwestern edge of the crater field. You got GEX that's settled up inside and outside of the crater field for now. So for now, Tianba's okay. They've already grouped up. I think Tianba wants to try to, brute force any situations they find themselves in. A little bit like last game, but they were a little late on that rotation. It almost cost them the round early on. They had Mings, who with literally 1 health, held on. I mean, we got to keep that particular moment in mind. Will that, that situation they survived, be enough? Those extra points they got for getting 4th place, will that be enough for them to win this championship?
So that's going to be the big key for Tianba. Can they really push into the crater fields? Because this is so far so good for Tianba, near Cobra area and on top of crater fields. But once they go past that point, if the circle shift east, luckily for Tianba.
Wow, a nice one here for MCG and Tianba. It's the middle of the crater fields, and that could be where it ends up. It very well can end in there.
This is insane from the eastern side. 4 AM, Pero, Death Vision Gaming White, K7, Sun Sisters, Entus, Infantry.
I think Entus probably wants to try to get as north as they can. Sun Sisters over there as well. Now, there was a knock, and it looks like it's finally going to be a finish here onto Lingdu. He does well early to get Spear, but looks like he's going to be found out this time around. Now, MCG is up on the hill, but Tanky realizing that the full force of Griffin probably going to be too much for them to deal with. Lingdu trying to get as far away as he can, see if he can bait Griffin into bad positions and give MCG some more kill points.
MCG, if they get a knock or 2, they will immediately get in the vehicle and get to the low ground and take Griffin out, but not this time as Griffin. What? 4 AM?
Just gone. They were fighting over on the eastern edge with New Happy.
Ran into New Happy.
Yeah, they're just done. And of course, we're focusing on our top teams. Ghibli going to find long DD from Pero as he tries to pop out of the vehicle, but there was not a lot of momentum. But he's going to get some help from XDD. He's going to get Lambu. Ikari on the side now, one of the top fraggers in this event, spraying down to that 3X, getting some decent hits, but not getting any knocks. A grenade explodes behind them. Doesn't catch anybody severely, just dinking and dunking on top of Pero. They are going to finish off, I believe. Who the heck did they just kill? That was somebody there. It looked like a
Deva, I think.
Deva? Okay, Deva from VLG went down, but VLG still has Akari alive. He comes up on the side, gets Mill. Gonna look down and see if he can go for that res. Lambu still has enough time to go for this. Mamu, XCD stepping up. That's not good enough. Akari doesn't hear the steps, and out goes VLG.
Yeah, because of smoke, was not able to hear the step. Hero loses 1, but that's still good. Even New Happy was pushed right after that. K7 actually being aggressive, getting the dominant form. Pushes out New Happy, that's 4 AM, and also New Happy gone from that eastern side. Now that cluster is somewhat cleaned up there but on the northern east side.
Entus does lose Sungjang to the fire of infantry. Under is very hurt as well. Got to be careful you don't back into your teammate there, Inigo, as they do try to make up for this, try to get 3 in this pickup. You do not want to be in Indigo's spot, but there's no choice at this point.
I think they can go far enough as the infantry will be shooting on top of them, but still, Entus, if they go far enough, they should be good unless they lose a tire.
Looks like they've got it. The tires full health on this particular Bronco, and this backside of this mountain should offer enough safety, unless, of course, infantry does something wild and just wraps around this backside and tries to fight him. I wouldn't expect that, but you never know. It is infantry.
Yeah, 3-man push as infantry also made a quick rotation before Entis. That's why they were able to somewhat trap them out of circle, but still Entis 3-man strong will be able to do somewhat better this round as Tiamba is sort of close and not bad. Really good for Tiamba. Again, somewhat lucky for infantry because they barely found some space up on top.
Yeah, this circle pretty gross. About half this is mountain and the other half is plain field. Pio's gonna find Machao, put him out of this particular game. Now, Tiamba is still pretty well situated. MCG is diving into the field. They have GEX and OPGG to contend with here. As you can see, as MCG is trying to drive around all of this, Evil Lee takes a whole bunch of damage. That's going to force him and his partner off of their bike. Evil Lee needs to heal up. Summer's going to have to stop as well. And this compound's going to have to be good enough, I feel like, for MCG for now.
Yes, it will actually be pretty good, even though they did lose a member. Here's Griffin against Afrika, but Roja picking up a challenge. Bonita goes down at the same time, but Denke is on the run already. Griffin taking a lot of teams down from that south side.
Yeah, definitely not where Afrika was expecting somebody to be potentially. They were a little late with the reinforcements, and Griffin already there to welcome them, say hello. That grenade's going to bounce off the front of that shack. Nothing doing for that particular one, as Entis now has found the side of Gen.G, a full 4-man for Gen.G. Detonation Gaming White is making a rotation through the crater on around the rim right now, and Gen.G's fanning out, I think, to try to bounce Entis out of this round potentially. It's Melifo coming up here on that motorcycle, doing a little stunt work up on top. He's got Gokuri with them. They're up over the hill, but out of the frying pan, maybe into the fire here.
As Entis Indigo out in the blue. We'll be okay with the kit, but Gen.G's got a pretty big spread. Of course, PO into the circle already, and Entis, they really have to push.
Yeah, there's no choice now. This is Circle 4, Phase 4 blue, and this really starts to chunk pretty hard. You can see Indigo, there aren't many options. Gen.G is just completely bared down on top of them. They had better position. They had more members, so they're able to fan out and circle Entis, and this could be another 0-point round for the top team.
Knocks Indigo down so far, but Indigo takes a big shot in his face and taking the blue damage at the same time. No one's actually in the circle now. Pio's going to keep Entis out, so I think it's going to be Entis just out with another 0 point.
Les Under's got some absolutely crazy heroics going for him. No, he does not. No. It is Aqua 5 there. Indigo does get a Nonic, so that's a point for Entis, but that's not going to be nearly enough to keep them ahead of MCG. I feel like with the way MCG has positioned themselves in this circle, there's still some time, though, that MCG might get popped out of here. Indigo now trying to find another point. He's going to get a knock on Aqua 5. Can he get another here? Onto Loki, just not able to get the handle on that mini.
But one more. And after that heal, he's going to be out basically with nothing else in the circle right now. And that actually hurt Gen.G a lot more because they had the full squad. And with not too much of a kill, I don't think it was totally worth for Gen.G to push this far.
I think this might be it for Indigo here. Pio has a pretty good beat on him, and Indigo has a lot of blue to deal with. Aqua 5 is basically down and out, as is Under. Now he's trying to see if there's any meds available. Loki running down the hill. Some shots from Pio. Going to finish the round. Indigo tries his best, and they get a couple points for Entis, but they go out early again.
And that's a single point for Entis for the first 2 rounds in Miramar. So that's a big loss. Gen.G only left with a couple of members. As full squad for Tiamba, near full squad for MCG. Right towards the center, there's another pop.
Yeah, this one's very favorable. It looks like it's going to finish in the crater fields. And based on that last circle, it kind of makes sense. There's not a lot of, there's stuff around the crater edges that is considered, I believe, unplayable, if I'm not mistaken. And regardless, it feels like these circles just end up in the crater fields one way or another when you have that much of the crater field left. So it looks like it's going to be heading towards that kind of finish as Gen.G is going to throw themselves right towards this compound. Griffin is sending it down here as well.
They had the exact same idea. Juanita, Sura, Too Hard coming in hot. Loki, Pio positioned pretty well though, and somewhat of a help from the other team too.
This is tough now for Griffin. They were just a bit too late. Good grenades on the outside are doing damage. Pio has been knocked. So once again, it's going to be up to Loki to try to do some theatrics for Gen G, and it's some trading fire with GEX. Oh, Loki comes around the side, doesn't get the knock, but gets pretty good damage, backs off into this corner. He has nowhere to go in or out of there, unless he tries some vaulting shenanigans, but that's pretty tough usually.
This had to be done with Tiamba. Ninja Gaming White actually challenging onto Tiamba at the perfect time. They were about to get into the vehicle, but Linshu caught right behind the tree there, who's going to win that fight right on top. Tiamba, rest of the members that get pulled down, but Destination Gaming White knocked out by Tiamba straight up.
Yep, Tiamba just better. They're hanging out along that northwestern edge, and they're making it work so far with some kills along the way, and now they're trying to see if they can hurt Infantry, who's trying to get on their motorcycles. Did that tire pop just on the front of that? Doesn't matter. Regardless, 9 got out, and 9 is about to go down as they look to try to do it to the other member, Lin. He's up ahead. Longskir's in a battle way on the other side for Infantry. Lin does regroup with Zhao Ying a bit, but they are in dire straits.
Yeah, using the fight between Sun Sisters and K7, Infantry actually making an entrance into the circle that's not as bad as Tiamba. They can't really get full shots into him or big movements into the creator field, as in the field, it's actually 100% controlled by all the other teams. GEX, OPGG, Griffin, and MCG right at the center. Pero also keeping the doors out from that eastern side of the field.
Yeah, well, look at Sun Sister doing decent stuff here. Faye holding the line against Infantry. Eventually he does fall, but he puts some serious damage into them. K7 Lockslot gonna fall as well to Lin from Infantry. You can watch Tiamba is hearing this and trying to scope out what's going on, but it's a little too dangerous for them to fully send it over there just yet. Circle's gonna force the issue, and they're trying to get more control of the northern side.
As Tiamba finally on a push after knowing that Infantry lost a lot of their power. As they are looking to control towards the eastern side, we have a pretty hard shift towards the east, and the field boy, they have to go. They have to come out. GEX, OPGG can stay. That's also Griffin, the entire squad of them.
Yeah, I don't think this is quite a fascinating circle. Right between the two craters is where the center is right now. So this one's going to be a really interesting finish, and Tiamba has to kind of come downhill a bit, as does Infantry. Well, maybe not for Infantry. I think they still have enough of this top area in that they can kind of hang out. MCG can remain in this compound, but I imagine somebody's going to have to make an attempt or a play at it, potentially Griffin, potentially GEX. We'll see if anybody goes for it, or who knows, maybe even Infantry gets crazy and goes for it. No, they're going to set up. I figured they'd try to set up along this lip.
I think this is exactly where Tiamba wanted to get that set up, but Infantry pulled up ahead a little early. And Tiamba can make a little bit more of a push into this part, but that's going to be caught by Infantry. As soon as they find out what the vehicle sound, they should already know that Tiamba's right there. But with just 2 men, I think they're a little bit scared right now.
Yeah, I don't think Infantry has any want to fight this particular situation just yet. Maybe if Tiamba gets into it with another team, like maybe Pero. But Afrika and Pero is still kind of deadlocked over there on the eastern side. As that hasn't moved yet, so Pero's just kind of waiting. Afrika's just like, well, we don't have to move either, bro. And I don't expect much to happen there just yet. OPGG still in the circle. Really, it's GEX and Griffin that I kind of have my eyes on.
Yep, but you got to take care of what's left. Taking down Denche. One more. Hansia is all the way on the back at the edge. Pero, if they take care of Afrika without losing a single member, I think they might just have the chicken this time. As everyone else out from the field, they basically have to fight coming into the next circle.
Yeah, I think Pero just got, impatient. They knew that they needed to get ready for this next circle, and the sooner they get rid of Afrika, the better. EJ is being bared down upon by all of them. Griffin taking this moment, this opportunity. Good timing here by Griffin, while a few teams are kind of distracted, and they have decent cover on their rotation path to keep them away from MCG's sightlines.
As MCG is just in somewhat of a bunker on their own, right in the middle of the center. As they can also pull one more. There's another small dip right towards the center, and MCG is the closest one to it. And I think keeping one member on the back for the turret and then pulling 2 will be the best play they can do with the next circle popping.
Yeah, Tiamba, I think, is in a pretty nice spot right now with this ridge. They've got some high ground on top of OPGG. They should be able to block that in pretty well. The problem is now that Pero has left the compound over on the east, there's going to be more sight lines available for them. And that circle is very nice for Pero, right in their wheelhouse. They are going to have so much control over this.
Lovely. They can just pick on any team when they get a chance. When they see a knock, they can look towards that direction, steal that kill point away. I think that's the best play that Pero can do. Trying to go for that easy dinner, and before that, Tiamba, they're moving on a little hot. This was supposed to be the spot that MCG was supposed to take a little bit earlier on with the rotation, but stolen away.
Yeah, this is smart by Tiamba. They got to make a move. They want to try to get the win. So they're going to go for it, and they have some stuff to work with. Now, there is a hill above them. I wonder how that's going to come into play. And MCG right next to them as well. So already one knock here from XDD. XDD working up on the side of that hill over the fence. Finds pretty good sight lines, but now good shots from Linchun. Going to put him back.
And as M200 will be rest easily, XDD, he's also got to be careful because as soon as he's knocked, Griffin will also push from the top. And somewhat unlikely too because of the timing issue. It'll be GG. Waiting as long as possible, trying to catch the rotation of GEX, who stepped a little bit too far, a little too early compared to everyone else. Will basically be shredded down from everyone else.
Yeah, meanwhile, Tiamba gets right up in the faces of Pero. Throwing some frags over is Linshu. He's gonna get it's Mills' grenade who gets the knock on to Mings, excuse me. A lot of damage being done to Pero, but no knocks just yet as Griffin tries to come behind Pero. Might have been it might have been just the right time to get there.
Yep, Griffin waited for that fight between Tiamba and Pero. Actually, Pero focusing on the Griffin forward now. Great focus. Choosing to shot call. Tiamba going to pressure at the same time against Pero. So that they might just be sandwiched, but actually winning a lot of duels.
What in the world has gotten into Pero? They're fighting on two fronts and making it work. This isn't what I learned in history class. I thought if you fought on two fronts, it doesn't work well for you. But Pero here is doing pretty good so far, although it might start to collapse as now there's two knocked, only one left, and indeed it does. In the long run, Pero does fall.
Yeah, Tiamba just pushing it all the way out. Pero, they were pushed. They knew that Griffin was going to push on them anytime soon. So I think that was a little bit overstepped by XTD, but still had to be done against Tiamba, challenging them. Now MCG's on a full pressure. OPGG and Infantry will be the only. If they clean up the other side, and Infantry,
wow.
MCG?
MCG just steps out and steps on the teams over to the north. It's Zhao Yang still alive for Infantry, but OPGG 4 out quickly, and now the two teams that Entus did not want to see in this situation are still alive and still strong.
Yeah, Tiamba has to take care of Asura right now, so going all the way back into the tower. They cannot lose anyone. It's up to Asura for any sort of knock or kill.
He's got to flush this. He's got to go for the next one. Oh my god, he isn't able to get it. He goes for the twofer, and Luren comes out, and MCG might just win back-to-back games to start this.
Perfect timing to take care of Infantry, the last one remaining. They know that he's there, just shooting a lot of smoke. Right now, Tiamba on the res, so MCG can actually push a little bit further, but I think they're keeping it passive just because they're 3 men instead of 4.
Well, if you had back-to-back chicken dinners on your bingo card for MCG today, congratulations. You might be marking that one off. They are looking really, really good. Now, both reses do come out for Tiamba, so it's not the end of the world just yet. The center of this is kind of anyone's game. It's right, I think, on the towards that road. So it's kind of flat, open territory, but that lip that MCG has is really nice.
Yeah, and Tiamba has to come through the gates, either or on top towards Infantry, towards where Zhao Yang is actually hiding right on the other side of the road, right next to Evil Lee there. Tiamba coming close after getting that many knocks. Better be careful, but MCG's got a wide spread on them.
Well, MCG really has a great read on this particular situation. What role does Zhao Yang have to play from Infantry? Still alive, still waiting in the wings to maybe be the thorn in the side for one of these teams. As you can see, there's the dead center. It's just to the off center of that road. So I think there's a lot of good situations for these. If Tiamba can take advantage of this high ground early, but we've seen how well MCG is fighting today.
Great nade, second one. Does a lot more damage, but tank does not go down. A pretty close call by Tiamba after throwing a few nades, making a big rotation into that entrance side. Some are keeping position from the side, so Luren does not actually come across. Mings is trying to overstep the line, trying to draw any type of fire. out from infantry or MCG, but no one's fighting right now, as that's going to be a big reveal.
Now, Evil Lee might get the first shots, but then Zhao Yang might come over and shoot into Evil Lee, take him down. That might be enough for Tianba to get this done.
Circle's coming.
All right, here we go. Evil Lee does open up a few shots. It's going to alert Zhao Yang pretty well to his presence, but I don't see Zhao Yang looking around too much just yet. He's waiting this out as long as he can. He wants that second place if he can help it. Or maybe the first if things go very well.
Maybe the first, because this has to be a 3v3.
All right, they're going to beat each other up. I feel like I don't expect this to just go one-sided, but you never know. With the way MCG's been playing here today, their shots are so good.
Some are on a pretty big push, as Mings, I think, took another nade damage from NCD. Really well spread with the final circle. Big weight on Luren. Zhao Yang's gone.
Oh, Zhao Yang's done. I'm laughing because Luren wanted to get a smoke through the grates of the fence and he couldn't, so he just threw it over. There's the opening knock. 2 knocks now for MCG. The last one on top. MCG goes back to back. Unbelievable day on Miramar for the boys from China. Unbelievable. Only 8 kills this time, but it doesn't matter. They are firmly atop the leaderboard now.
Back-to-back win. Both Miramars and Entus got 1 point. So certainly number 1 and in a big lead, over 10 points by now. As they kept in control, and as I mentioned before we went into the match, they had a lot of trouble diving into Circle 4, Circle 5. This time finding the perfect bunker for themselves with 3 men. They knew they could not really fight against the other squad because they lost a lot of their power, but they still kept it very strong, maintaining control all the way until the end. In the second chicken on the final day. That's incredible.
No, it's absolutely